Hello everybody, my name is Squirrelbites, and by the time you're watching this, Art Fight is over. I'm sorry guys, I didn't get a video out in time for Art Fight. But if you did attack me, there is a chance that I recorded the process of me making my revenge, and I'll use it in a video, with a shout out to you, of course. Now, I did accidentally forget to record a lot of people's progresses. You know what I'm trying to say. And to those people, I say, I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. And also, by the time I'm recording this, I just came back from watching the Barbie movie, and you gotta watch it. You have to watch it. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. Anyways, who are we drawing here today? We're drawing Stormstar. Wow. Stormstar is the leader of ShadowClan, while Prideheart is not Pridestar. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Speaking of ShadowClan, I've also been thinking about making my own clans. For now, I'm sticking to ShadowClan, so that's what I'll be saying. But I've also been thinking about making my own 4 clans and making the story based off of that. And if I did, then it would be Reptile Clan, Avian Clan, Fish Clan, and Mammal Clan. And Prideheart would live in Reptile Clan. But enough of these hypotheticals. For today, we're going to be saying ShadowClan. So who is Stormstar? Stormstar is the leader of ShadowClan, of course, but a very special one at that. I started writing Stormstar's backstory in order to take a break from writing Prideheart's. Stormstar is a purebred Maine Coon, and how could this be if they're all feral cats? Well, same reason why Speckled Nose is a purebred Oriental Shorthair. They were both lost or abandoned. The clan isn't entirely sure. But they did have the smell of 2 legs on them when they found them, and they were far too young to truly remember anything. So ShadowClan, of course, took them in, since they were in ShadowClan territory. Because they were around the same age and found at around the same time, it was believed that they had some correlation to each other, and they were raised together in the nursery. They developed a brother-sister bond. Other than looks, he truly had no reason to believe otherwise. Deep down, he of course knew that they weren't really related, but it didn't matter to him. Eventually, they grew up and got out of the nursery, and Storm Kit became Storm Paw and was mentored to be a warrior. Speckled Kit, however, wanted to take a different route. She wanted to be a medicine cat. It was a tough transition for Storm Paw because he was so used to sleeping with Speckled Paw every night, and now Speckled Paw had to sleep in the medicine cat den. He didn't exactly like it very much. But he did find comfort in a denmate of his. A little bit older than him, became an apprentice about 2 moons before him. And her name was Ravenpaw. And I know, there's already a character named Ravenpaw. Shut up. She doesn't stay Ravenpaw, she becomes a warrior. So I don't know what you want me to do if you're upset about her being called Ravenpaw. I do want to note this. I don't have any issue with people shipping pairings in my OC story that don't happen in canon. I have no issue at all. I have no reason to have an issue with it. I do want to note, though, that canonly, Stormstar and Stormpaw and Ravenpaw have never liked each other romantically. This is strictly platonic. But if you decide to ship them, I don't mind at all. However, there is somebody who likes Ravenpaw romantically. Now somebody is Speckled Paw. Ooh. Speckled Paw does get a little bit jealous, as she has like the biggest crush on Ravenpaw right now. So far, Stormpaw is the only one getting Ravenpaw's attention. While both Stormpaw and Ravenpaw know they only like each other platonically, Speckled Paw can't be so sure. Whether or not Speckled Paw would get with Ravenpaw if she could is completely out of the question though, and she does know this, as she is a medicine cat apprentice. She's signing up to have no mate for life, as much as it does hurt a little bit. And I will talk more about the bond that Speckled Paw and Ravenpaw have in a different video, because this video is about Stormstar. It was a bit late at night. Stormpaw was exhausted, overworked by his mentor. And we'll get to the overworking in a little bit. Speckled Paw had snuck in to the apprentice's den and nudged him awake. The Stormpaw, all drowsy and a little bit grumpy that he was woken up, grumbles, "What is it?" And Speckled Paw asks him to meet him in the center of the camp, as everyone was asleep, so there was no worry about someone waking up and hearing what Speckled Paw had to say. Begrudgingly, Stormpaw does, and once they're there, he asks Speckled Paw, "What's up? Why'd you have to wake me up at the dead of night?" And Speckled Paw confesses that they don't think that she-cat is the way they want to describe themselves anymore. They feel much more comfortable being called a Tom. He then asked for Stormpaw to start calling her he, just to test it out. Stormpaw didn't really understand why this had to be so secretive, but he agrees, he does it. That is the coming out scene from Speckled Paw. Speckled Paw is a trans man, so from now on, referring to him as he has now come out. From then on, Stormpaw called Speckled Paw he, him, Tom, all of that. He did slip up every now and then, as he had known Speckled Paw as a she-cat his entire life. But he does his best, and Speckled Paw loves it. So much so to the point where he decides to just let it be known through the whole clan. And whether or not I want to include transphobia in the series, I'm still thinking about, as transphobia only really exists in one species, which is, us humans. But also, real life feral cats don't have the amount of issues that these battle cats have in these books. These cats are very clearly humanized. So, whether or not I will include transphobia and homophobia, I'll think about it. I'll think about it. But for now, we're not really going to touch on that, as it hasn't been decided. As Stormpaw is completing his apprenticeship, the rules in ShadowClan have gotten only stricter and stricter, and some of these rules have kind of gotten ridiculous. Of course, in Gathering, a good rule of thumb in every single clan is to be careful what you say to the other clans. But it's gotten pretty bad. You can hardly say anything to the other clans. You can only talk about how wonderful it is to live in ShadowClan. Rotstar indoctrinated the youth before Stormpaw, and he still is, of course. But this only means that now there's a whole group of warriors that are higher up than the normal warriors, and they're higher up because they've devoted their life to Rotstar. And these warriors are given an insane amount of power. Obviously not anything comparable to what Rotstar has, but they still have an insane amount of power, and the cats of ShadowClan live in fear of them. Can't say anything bad about ShadowClan, because there's ears everywhere. And Stormpaw absolutely hates this. He sees how, not exactly carefree, but how in other clans they don't have to worry like that with their leaders in comparison to Rotstar. And he begins his own little youth group. A little group of apprentices who all trust each other not to snitch and want to plan a revolution, pretty much. I haven't decided everybody who's going to be in this group, but I have decided that Stormpaw, Speckled Paw, and Ravenpaw, they're all part of it. Speckled Paw's mentor is a really kind, loving medicine cat named Dogtooth. She got this name because she has a very powerful bite, but she's too warm-hearted to use it. Or so the entire clan thinks. This will be said differently when I go into Speckled Paw's point of view during his OC discussion. All I can really say right now, because this is dedicated to Stormstar, is that Speckled Paw was really nervous one day when they were having a late night meetup. And he kept trying to tell Stormpaw and Ravenpaw what he discovered, but he kept stammering. Ravenpaw placed her paw on his and told him to take his time and that they'll listen to him. Eventually, Speckled Paw calmed down and told them that Rotstar wasn't truly the leader. Rotstar had the 9 lives. He had the name Star in his name, like all the other leaders do. But he wasn't the leader. The real leader was Dogtooth. And Stormstar immediately is like, what are you on about, bro? But Speckled Paw explains that Rotstar is infatuated with Dogtooth. He isn't sure when it began. It could have begun before any of them were born, or it could have begun recently. But Dogtooth had Rotstar wrapped around her paw. He only found this out because he had insomnia, and he wanted to ask Dogtooth for advice, maybe if he could get some poppy seeds just to calm down and relax. And he couldn't find her. So he followed her scent, and it led into the leader's den. And he listened in, and he heard her make commands for Rotstar. He heard her tell him what new rules she wanted him to implement in ShadowClan to make the cats of ShadowClan more fearful and more restricted. Ravenpaw graduated apprenticeship 2 moons before Stormpaw and Speckled Paw. Using the fact that she could now access the warriors easier, being an equal and being in their den, she managed to recruit some warriors to their cause. One of those warriors ended up being the deputy. Now, she's not crazy. She didn't just go up to the deputy and say, hey, you should join our cause in going against Rotstar. It's more that she told a relative of his, and it had completely slipped her mind that they were related. And that relative told the deputy. I haven't decided who the deputy is yet. Sorry, guys, I'm a little silly. And eventually, Stormpaw becomes Stormflight, and Speckled Paw becomes Speckled Nose. Ravenpaw became Ravensong, by the way. Completely forgot to mention that. They eventually recruit enough cats to the point where they feel like they can officially declare war on ShadowClan, I guess. It's civil war. And it starts off as an ambush, and this took several battles. Stormflight and everybody on his side were, of course, exiled, but they kept returning and they kept battling. Except for Speckled Nose, which Speckled Nose was just the designated healer because he can't fight very well. They had made their own makeshift camp just on the border of ShadowClan, which ShadowClan didn't know about. During the final battle, a storm raged. This didn't matter to ShadowClan or the rebels, but this was pretty bad, to the point where there was a loose tree that had fallen and struck both Stormflight and the ShadowClan warrior he was battling against. Now, this tree didn't squish them, so it didn't kill them. This tree was just now stuck at an angle, but it did hit both of their heads. The ShadowClan warrior, all that happened to him was that he was knocked unconscious, but this tree had hit Stormflight's eyes. Luckily, only one of his eyes were affected, but it did hurt, like the devil. His iris was now broken, which it doesn't affect him nowadays far too much, it just makes him very sensitive to light. Eventually, Rotstar was driven out, along with his group of higher-up warriors that were loyal to him. They had disbanded and scattered. Nobody knows where any of them are today. As for Dogtooth, she was killed in battle. And the deputy who had fought alongside the rebels became the leader and appointed Stormflight as the deputy. And eventually, Stormflight became the leader. He became Stormstar. And that's Stormstar. It's been a minute since I've made a OC discussion. I want to remind that my OC discussions are not limited to my Warrior Cats OCs. I'm going to make an OC discussion on my Dungeons & Dragons OC at some point. It's just that my Warrior Cats ones are kind of the ones that are most developed. Alas. No fan art in this video. I am so sorry. I know I have like all this fan art piling up. I'll get to it, I promise. I'm just trying to figure out how to make a fan art wall. If anybody has a good tutorial and just knows how to do that or something, please let me know, because I am stumped. If you like the video, please like, comment, and subscribe, as they all really help me with my reach. And feel free to donate to my Patreon, as you'll get some pretty cool rewards there. Link is in the description. And do you like Undertale? You do? Well, that's fantastic, because I have these Undertale stickers up right now on my Etsy. You should order them. And more Undertale stickers and other fandom stickers are going to be going up there. Goodbye. Stay safe. Mwah!